What's up, guys? BP Hero at you here. Whew, what a mess this has been. I posted a Q&A on Saturday, I think it was, everybody to give their questions and get some answers and that kind of thing as we'd plan on podcasting. I had somebody lined up to come and podcast with me. I don't know what happened. That person did not end up showing up. It's irrelevant at this point. It's done. It's over with. I'm out of town. Was out of town with work, and I am again here, as you can tell by this lovely backdrop. I was out of town in my hotel, and I basically just turned my hotel room upside down to try and get somewhere that we could shoot a podcast. And this person didn't end up showing up, so I started putting my room back together because it was obvious it wasn't going to happen. And then I realized, you know what? No, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this podcast. Shot the podcast. It didn't come out bad. The content was good, but I wasn't happy with the presentation, if that makes sense. Kind of the stuff that was going on. I'll post a little screenshot here so you can, see. I had some lighting and stuff set up in the background. I had a light in the mirror, and I wrote some stuff on the mirror just to be funny. And you couldn't even read what it was. It looked like a child had been in my room. It just wasn't an overall good presentation, so I just nixed the whole thing. Figured I'd go ahead and start over. So here we are. Season 2, Episode 2. It's been way too long. I know that people have been dying for the podcast. Solo's not exactly what I had in mind, but Gabe's been busy with some family stuff. Hasn't really had a chance to get away. And I've asked a few people, would you like a solo podcast, or would you like it to be, he and I, or another person at least? And pretty much everyone said, it would like it to be at least another person, because Gabe's personality mixed with mine can make just about anything entertaining at times. So I totally get that. But the show must go on. Has nothing to do with Gabe. Gabe wants to be here, not technically here, but wants to be involved in this within the channel. He's just busy right now, so you're stuck with this guy. We're going to jump straight into things here. What's new at the BP Hero? Because it's been so long. What's new on the BP Hero? Since the last podcast, there's a ton of bat reviews, some vlogs, and some other stuff we're going to get into. I have the Boomba ASA T3 compressor. I'll put little thumbnails up here somewhere maybe. Got the Boomba T3 compressor ASA. Those are still not out. They're supposed to be out on the 15th of February. I got the bat back in early January. They actually reached out to me and said, hey, we've got this bat coming out. Would like you to get a review on it. Give us an honest review. Tell us what you think. We're planning to release these on this date, and we'd love for you to have one, get a review started early, get some views going, get some interest in this bat. That way when it comes out, it'll be ready to sell. So I did that. They sent it out, got some swings on it. I am going to update it. They told me just to hang on to it and whoop on it, pass it around, so that's what I'm going to do. I shot it, and it was pretty good, and it's gotten even better. I've gotten a couple more 100 swings on it since the video. Plan on updating it around 500 or 600 swings, so that's going to be fun because that bat is getting pretty fun. So stay tuned for that. I'm not 100% sure when these things are going to release. It's still kind of up in the air. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. But when it comes out, I'll be sure and let you guys know. We also have the 2017 BJ Folk, and go to that video and check out some comments. It was pretty funny. Some guy tells me, shaved is not the answer, and I was like, what are you talking about? Hang on. Oh. Okay. Don't want that refrigerator buzzing in the background. But anyway, this guy says shaved is not the answer, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And, somebody else commented, this isn't a shaved bat, these bats are hot. Then he comes back and he says, I've been playing softball for years, and I can tell you that bat is shaved just by the sound. I'm, okay. I don't know what I have to gain from swinging a shaved bat, but, whatever you want to tell yourself, bro. If you think I'm swinging a shaved bat, I'd like to see your reaction to someone that does. And the comment section, you know, a lot of my loyal subscribers chimed in, and boy, they let him have it. It was kind of funny. So if you want a good read, go there and check that out. I still don't think he's replied. I'm not sure that he will. They might have ran him off. So that was interesting, and it's a fun bat. I plan on doing an update on that as well, with something kind of cool that I'll get to in a minute. We also have the limited edition Miken Patriot ASA model, the Combat Maxim, the Miken Freak 30, and the Izzy Pearson Psycho. Was a little let down by that one. If you haven't seen the video, it's not that it wasn't hot, because boy was it, but I've been a fan of the Psychos, you know, the D2E and the green one. Gamed a Psycho all last year and had planned on it until this year, but I sold my Psychos to get some reviews going for you guys. But back on topic here, the D2E and the green Psycho have a pretty sizable inload to them, and if you know me at all, the bigger the inload, the better. And I really like the barrel feel from them as well. This one had the 17 model. I mean, it didn't have a bad barrel feel, but the weighting was funky. It's only a max load this year as opposed to the Super Max, and I just was not a fan of... I mean, it was almost like a progressive style inload. Like, it was there, but it wasn't as sludgy and it wasn't as pronounced. I mean, it can almost pass as a heavier... for a balanced bat on, like, the heavier realm of things. Anyway, I mean, like I said, it was a good performer. It was wicked hot. Just did not like the weighting. Also got the 2017 Worth Headbanger, the ASA DC41, the Bachmann Z4. That was an interesting bat. I don't know what to think of that one. When I got them, they were only available in 26.5. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know if there's more coming out. But supposedly there's only like 100 made right now. And the performance was right. I mean, it was okay. It's a Louisville, so it's going to take some breaking in. But the thing that perplexed me about it was it's advertised as an inload, and it was mid-load at best. Had a very funky swing weight to it. Really strange sound. But like I said, it's Louisville. It's going to break in. Also have all 4 of the Freak Platinum Editions. Got the balanced and the inload of the ASA and the U-Trip. Have both U-Trip ESTs, Worth ESTs, the inload and the balanced. And I've done a couple vlogs. Had one vlog that got a couple dislikes, like right off the bat. I don't know if it was like garbage content or what. It did get cut short, I will say that. If you guys haven't seen the vlog, my daughter got sick. She has just been a pinnacle of terrible health this last month or so. Don't know what the deal is, but you know, hopefully things get better. I mean, she was, you know, in perfectly good health. Then this last month or so, I don't know, just ear infections and croup. She's had croup twice, had 2 ear infections in under a month. She's got a stomach bug right now. It's just like it never ends with this kid. I think she's broken. And also unboxed a custom DeMarini, so that was pretty cool. My friend Brian ordered one of those. You've seen him on some of the vlogs and a couple of the reviews. He ordered a custom DeMarini and was like, hey man, this thing's pretty cool. You know, it didn't come in just like a box. So, you know, if you want to unbox this on camera for your YouTube channel, you can. It's like, awesome, yeah, bring it over. So he brought it over, and that was kind of cool. It wasn't, like I said, I figured it would just be a bat in a box. Here's your custom bat, congratulations. But DeMarini's always been known for kind of going over the top, and they definitely, I wouldn't say went over the top with this, but they definitely went the extra mile in making sure that their presentation of a custom bat was what you paid for. Got my notes here. And my phone is still on loud. Let me fix that. Okay, so anyway. What else we have coming on the channel? I have the complete Easton Raw power line coming. The Helmer, the Baker, and the Wegman. The ASA and the U-Trip. So we'll have 6 bats there. And I have the Purcell Legit, the Jeff Hall Legit, and the 2017 ASA Flipper OG coming as well. Those are on the way in the mail. Once I get a chance to get some swings on those, I'll definitely be posting those reviews, so stay tuned for that. And I got a mystery bat. A friend of mine sent me, he's a friend of mine and he is a subscriber, sent me a bat. He says, hey, I'm sending something to you. I was like, alright, cool. thinking it would just be like a review thing. And he's like, and it's a gift for you. When you're done, you can keep it. And I was just like, man, you sure you want to do that? He's like, yeah. And I had no idea what was in the box, not even a clue. He tried giving me some hints, but I couldn't tell you what I ate for breakfast this morning, so I had no idea what was in the box. So we had discussed this bat before, and now that I saw the bat, I remember. But I had no clue it was in the box, and I unboxed it. And I'll put some pictures up right over here. Whoa. I loved these bats when they came out. And for those of you that don't know, this is the Combat Avarice. I love these things when they came out, and they were wicked, wicked, wicked hot. But, I mean, durability was not good. This thing is covered in tracking. This looks to be one of the second date batches. They had their serial numbers. You can kind of read the date in them. And they made some at a later date that had a little better durability, and I believe this is one of those. It's covered in tracking. It's covered in webbing. This thing is going to be fun. I do plan on doing a review on it, maybe like a Throwback Thursday thing. So I think it's like a 2012, so it's been a minute. I like to reserve my Throwback Thursdays for, old stamp bats, but if it's been that long, I think it'll qualify that, and I just really want to swing it. So that'll be coming soon. Also going to do a video on this stinking pitching machine. What pitching machine is that? What's that thing throwing them balls? Where did you find that pitching machine? How much are one of those? Hey, I've had tons of questions about this thing almost every video that I post. It's gotten to the point that my subscribers, which thank you very much, my subscribers and wherever I post a video have been replying to the people, hey, what's that pitching machine? And they'll go ahead and reply for me, just because I get the question so much. I've missed it. I've gotten it so many times. I'll scroll through the comments and miss it. I'm gonna do a video on that. I keep telling myself that I'm going to. I've been telling you guys that I'm going to, but when I get to the field here lately, it's just been, just swinging till your arms fall off to get reviews in. And if you haven't noticed at all, my swing has definitely taken a toll from that. But I'll cover that in another video because I got some stuff I want to work on. Anyway, I keep meaning to shoot a little video on this thing, but I just honestly do not think about it when I'm out. Like when I'm done swinging, I'm ready to leave. I've been at the field for 3.5 hours. It's time to go home. But, it is what it is. I'll get it to you though. I promise you, because everybody's curious on the settings that I use to get this thing dialed in, and boy, is it dialed in. A couple other things I do want to talk about are, one, if you guys didn't watch the first vlog that I posted this month, I did make an announcement. If you haven't heard of Softball Fans, they are known for their forum. They have an online store as well. It's a facility up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It is an online store, and that whole thing there facilitates an online forum, discussion forum. You can find anything on there from just about any manufacturer. There's all kinds of jersey companies with reps on there. All kinds of good stuff on there. I post a lot of reviews and stuff on there. Well, they have a store, and they have indoor cages and everything where you can try out bats. So I got to thinking, talking to these guys. I'm a moderator on that forum, so I've been there for a while. I got to talking to some of these guys, and I said, hey, if you're sending these, if you're using these bats in your indoor cages, for people to try out, I wouldn't mind if we could figure out a way to get it worked out where I could do a review on the bat and then just send it to you. You throw it in the cage and just let people beat it to death. But if I could get a review on it, I could plug you guys and help you guys out because they do have some really good pricing. So it was just kind of a mutual agreement and it ended up working out. All right, thanks. Bye. And just like that, it's time to go to work. But anyway, as I was saying, we basically got it worked out. They've been sending me a lot of bats. The last 6 reviews that I've posted have been from them, and there's a lot more stuff coming from them too. So that's really awesome. Can't wait to continue this. It seemed to be going pretty well so far. So it's going to be good for you guys. It's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for them. It's good for everybody. And the other cool thing, speaking of Softball Fans, he sent me a lot of bats, and he sent me, this guy's name is Motoman125YZ on Softball Fans. Really cool guy. I've talked to him, quite a bit, and we've discussed bats. He sent me 3 or 4 bats now, and he sent me a radar. I don't know if you've seen them. It's called the My Pocket Radar. I'll put a picture up on the screen here of one of them. It's pretty cool. Humbling, but cool. But I thought it'd be kind of a cool experimentation tool. You know, like if you get a bat that, not you, but if I get a bat that I want to do a review on and I know I'll be able to do an update on, take it, get some, numbers off of it as far as the exit speeds, and then, once it breaks in, take it back and get some more numbers off of it. I thought that'd be kind of a cool experiment. There's all kinds of other things I could do with it. Maybe you could do like, bat weights or balance versus inload, or hard ball versus 52. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with it. So it's going to be a lot of fun to play around with that thing. Big thanks to him for sending that. I do have to send it back, so I'm not going to hang on to it forever. I told him whenever he needs it back to just let me know and I'll send it. But until then, we're going to try and have some fun with that thing. I don't know what I'm going to be able to get done with it, so don't just bombard me with questions about it. But I am going to try and get some good content going with it. But to save you sitting here having a conversation with myself about a lot of things, I'm just going to do a bunch of Q&A here for this video. I posted that, I was taking some questions for some Q&A, and I got a ton of questions. So I'm honestly just going to take the time to sit down and answer all those, as opposed to talking about topics where it's just going to be basically me talking to myself. So let's dive right into the Q&A here. Okay, Trevor Gentry from Facebook asks, the art of cutting and tips to practice. What he's referring to is cutting the softball, basically applying backspin. A lot of people get a misconception that cutting the ball just means like this like heat-seeking line drive that's like 3 feet off the ground. Not necessarily the case. There's a lot of people that cut the ball, apply backspin, and get an upward trajectory just because the backspin is going to give you better distance. There is a fine line to tiptoe, though. Like I said, a lot of people consider it to be just like the line drives that just blaze through, or the lasers and stuff like that. And that's all good and well, but when you get to the point that those are carrying to the outfield, it's a line drive that's going to hit somebody in the chest out there. It's not hard to catch, especially when you're on the infield as well. I mean, if you're hitting somebody in the chest with a line drive, you did nothing to challenge them to catch that ball. No matter how hard you hit it, they're, 90, 100 feet away. Unless you're Brett Helmer and I'm getting out of the way of what you're hitting at me, it's not going to be hard to catch. As well as, it can really screw with your swing too. When I first started doing it, I just accidentally discovered how to cut a ball. It's been years ago. I'm talking like 4 or 5 years ago. I'd gotten to the point where I didn't have a lot of home run power, and I still don't for that matter. And it was like, you know what, forget it. I'm not even going to try. I'm seriously just going to try and hit the ball through the infield as hard as I can. So literally every swing I would take, no matter where the ball was at on me, location-wise, it's just like get it through the infield as fast as you can. And I would just aim for the lip of the grass, no matter where the ball was. Just aim for the lip of the grass. And then I started noticing, getting these line drives and these cut trajectories, and it was good and it was bad, but it absolutely wreaked havoc on my swings. I have nothing to hide. You can go back and look at my channel from a couple years ago, even further than that. I mean, I used to just tomahawk everything. The swing was not good. It doesn't really get a lot of your lower half involved, and I do struggle with getting the lower half involved in my swing, and that was doing nothing good for it. Now, I do still swing down on the ball. I mean, it's no secret, but I have leveled up considerably since then, and it's been a big benefit to my game overall. So I normally don't recommend, cutting the ball to a lot of people, because it's just wreaked that much havoc on my swing that I will probably, until the day I quit playing softball, fight the habit that I started, 2 or 3 years ago from doing it every swing. Some people are good at it. Some people are really good at it. Some people aren't good at all. If you've got this great big aggressive downward swing on a ball that's coming in, on a big arc, you've pretty much got to hit it perfect to be able to get that line drive. And then, like I said, you run into the issue of they're easy to catch, carrying places you don't want them to, carrying out of the ballpark. You have that issue. You pretty much pounding them straight into the ground if you do miss it at all, or it's going to be a can of corn for the infield to catch. Now, as far as, the approach that I take to cutting the ball now, I just try and get through the ball as level as I can, and then I'll still apply good backspin. a tee is a good way to do that. I'm not going to suggest cutting the ball as in hitting all these lasers like I talked about. Just cut the ball and work on driving it somewhere. That's the biggest thing I'm going to tell you. Tee work helped me so much with that, and hitting the Evil BP 52 pluses and the Evil BP, any of the BP balls, but the 52 pluses especially, because the 52s are really affected by backspin, so you can really see that good trajectory, and it just kind of helps you read how you are hitting the ball, if you're cutting it well or not. And the multicolored cover also gives you a good read on the ball as far as your spin goes. If you maybe kind of peeling them off a little bit, you'll see it in the cover of the ball, the side spin and stuff. But tee work is all I'm going to suggest, and just work on driving the ball somewhere. Don't take a great big aggressive downward swing on the ball, because it's going to wreck everything that you've worked hard to get to. Matthew Clark on Facebook asks, do you prefer the EST or the Platinum? I'm going to assume he's referring to the U-Trip models because I haven't swung the ASA yet. And the answer to that is, honestly, the Platinum, because it reminds me of the Psycho. The EST was stupid hot out of the wrapper. I mean, just ridiculous. And even at about 100, 150 swings, it was just unreal. But it was so stiff. I don't like a lot of stiff feedback in a bat, and the inload was it wasn't heavy and it wasn't light. I like a lot of inload, but to me, the Platinum was a lot more of a pronounced inload, and I really like the barrel feedback better. It obviously wasn't as good out of the wrapper, but within 100 swings, it was right there with it. So, people are saying, oh, the EST is the hottest bat of the year. If it's a Mikan or if it's a Worth, it's going to be freaking hot. It's just going to be a matter of what fits your swing, which makes you decide if it's going to be the hottest bat of the year or not. There's companies that are releasing 10 exclusive bats a month, it feels like, and they're all Mikans and Worths, and people are claiming it's the hottest bat ever. And if you go back and you look, those same people were saying that the last one was the hottest bat ever. So people are sheep, they'll believe anything they read. But if it's a Mikan or a Worth, it's going to be hot. But to give an answer to the question, feedback and feel and that kind of thing, preference-wise, I do prefer the Platinum. Timothy Gilbert asks, what glove do you game? I game a Vinci TJ 1952-L Custom. I'll put a picture up here in the corner, kind of roll through a few. It is all red, every last bit of it besides a couple of accents. I absolutely love it. I had it for a couple years. Then, long story that I'm not going to get into. I had to sell it to pay some medical bills, and sold it to a guy. Really wanted it back. I reached out to him, and he let me have it back. So that was pretty cool. I got it back. Been using it for about a year now, and absolutely love that thing. I love Vinci's. I love everything about them. I wouldn't mind checking out, like some other gloves or anything like that, but just the Vinci's for me, I've had the best luck with. They're cut for softball, so that's really nice as well. Huge, humongous pocket, as you saw in those pictures. I mean, it's a 13.5-inch glove, and it's got 2 softballs in it. It's not even coming out the top yet. Absolutely love those things. Oh, coincidence. Ryan Callahan from Instagram asks thoughts on custom gloves, specifically S2N. Custom gloves, depending on what you want to do with them, color schemes or things like that, just remember whatever you order, you've got to sell it. Well, I shouldn't say you've got to, but if you want to sell it, it's going to have to be something that somebody else wants to buy. You're going to have to practically give it away, especially when it comes to custom embroidery. Yeah, you can put your name on your glove, or you can put your own little accents on your glove, but it's hard to sell a glove that's got your name on it. You're trying to sell it to someone else, or vice versa. If you're buying a glove, you don't want somebody else's name on it, but I'm kind of talking in circles there. But as far as the customization of things goes, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Like I said, I've got an all red one. S2N, I'll put a picture up right here. They released a white and gold glove they made for somebody. That thing is amazing. I love the white and the gold. I'm kind of a sucker for white gloves. Yeah, you're going to the ball diamond with a white glove, it's going to get dirty. But that thing looks awesome. S2N gloves, I don't know a whole lot about. I've handled a couple. They don't seem to be bad quality. I mean, in the one I handled one glove 2 different times. I handled it when it was new and as it was broken in, and it felt good new. And as it was breaking in, it still felt good. Reminded me maybe of a little softer version of a Vinci. I don't know if they offer different types of leather or anything else, so that'd be something to look into. But I wouldn't mind checking them out. They don't seem bad though. I will say that, especially if you've got conference guys using them. They've got the confidence in them to use them, so that's always good. Brian Madison from YouTube asks, well, I'm sorry, he's got 5 questions, so we're just going to answer them all. He has 5 questions. His first one is, one-piece bats seem to be dead. Thoughts on why all the love for the 2-piece? I personally always felt more control with a 1-piece. Honestly, to me, it's nothing more than preference. You know, some people claim, oh, you get better performance, or, you know, you can really feel the bat whip through and hit the ball better. I know that's kind of Dean Marini's sales pitch with their composite handles is, you know, the whip and then the snap at the end, but I've never felt an advantage swinging a 2-piece bat. It's just feedback. I think a lot of people are really sold on the forgiveness of a 2-piece bat, especially with the last few years, again with the Micans and the Worths and everything like that. And I don't know, because I'm not a bat manufacturer, but maybe it's easier for them to make a better performing bat in a 2-piece. I honestly don't know. But to me, 1-piece bats have died off simply because everybody wants, you know, to feel like a god every time they swing a bat, so they want something forgiving. You know, if you're bad about hitting balls off the end cap, a 1-piece bat's going to let you know about it. But if you're hitting balls towards the end cap with a 2-piece bat, unless it's like a, you know, really flexy composite handle, you're going to get a lot of feedback. But regardless, that is my, I wouldn't say reasoning, but my main explanation for that. His second question, the favorite shoe you've played in, mix of comfort, grip, and durability. The favorite shoe I've ever played in is a Reebok, oh shoot, what are them things? Zig Sharks. It's basically just a ZigTech, or standard ZigTech, and it's a trail shoe, so it's got, you know, a bunch of little, like, what do you call them, teeth or cleats or whatever on the bottom. I'll put a picture over here. Those things were awesome. I had 2 pairs, and I went through 1 pair a year. Loved them. They were good on the dirt. They were good if I had to go into the grass for anything, to play some outfield in league or something. They were good out there. They were good in the batter's box. They were comfortable. I would put them on when I got to the field and just leave them on all day. I mean, they just felt like tennis shoes. So those were awesome. And it, you know, it was before the trail shoes took the big hit, the big trend or whatever. You know, people paying $150 for a pair of Salomons just because it's a trail shoe, and oh, it's comfortable and they're awesome. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. I've never tried a Salomon shoe, but I'm not going to pay $150 for a pair of shoes either. I don't even spend $150 on a pair of shoes to go out in. The last pair of shoes I bought were $27 on clearance from Champs. But as far as that goes, yeah, that's the favorite shoe that I've ever played in. My only thing with those is they're being a trail shoe. They're thin, and especially since, you know, it's not necessarily made for, you know, sports and things like that. There's not a lot of toe protection. As a pitcher, I need something with some toe protection. I haven't been hit in the toe. I've been hit, you know, a bunch of times, but I've never been hit in the toes. But I don't want a broken toe because I was wearing like a trail shoe that has nothing up there to protect my toes. You know, yeah, they got shin guards that have the deals that come down over the front of them, but I'd rather not take that chance anymore. I've just been wearing some Nike Turfs, and they've been really good to me so far. He says, batting gloves or leather work gloves for BP? Well, if you've watched my channel, you know I've used the leather work gloves for, about a year and a half now. I was mowing through batting gloves about a pair a month, and I was getting sick of paying $25, $30 a month for a pair of gloves. So I asked on Facebook, you know, hey, what's everybody using for batting gloves? Any suggestions or anything like that? And this friend of mine, who's a farmer, suggested leather work gloves. And I was going to go out and hit the next day. I was like, oh, what the heck? I'll give it a shot. I mean, what have I got to lose? And I actually fell in love with it. It's comfortable. I mean, I can't really give you any other explanation. That they are thin, I will say that, but they're not big, thick, you know, padded ones or insulated or anything like that. I mean, it's thin leather, I wear some at work too, and they hold up great out there. I'm a railroader, so I put them through their paces, and they hold up great. And I think the last pair that I actually didn't lose a glove to lasted me about a year. And that's with 3M spray and athletic tape and all that stuff too, and all the rounds of BP that I take. As I was just mowing through regular batting gloves, but those things seem to hold up really well, and they're extremely comfortable. Then he says, "Dear God, why do people that think exclusive bats are going to be the hottest bat ever?" I kind of discussed it earlier. I think it's hype, and the guys that go out and buy 5 or 6 pre-orders and then turn around and sell them, gouge the crap out of the prices for $60-$70. Those are the guys that are telling you they're the hottest bats ever because they want you to buy theirs so they can make some money off of you and then go buy some more when they come out. I mean, it had to pass the same tests that everything else did. And before anybody says a word, yes, I gamed a D2E Psycho last year, but it's not because Psycho is life. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I got a good price on it that I couldn't pass up. I bought the thing for $130. I was going to buy whatever was affordable. That was affordable, so I bought it. It had nothing to do with being exclusive or being hotter or anything like that. I got it at a good price and I bought it. That's the thing about it. Don't overpay for a cool paint job and some hype that someone told you. Buy what's good for you. And his last question is, do you think 52-300 balls field differently than any of the balls? Yes, they do. The 52-300 balls, especially when it comes to a dry hard field, they play wild. You get a lot of crazy hops and things like that. It takes some getting used to. There in Columbia where we play, they used 44s for years, and the first couple years they switched to the 52s. I mean, even some of the best infielders were getting ate up with balls, but it's just a matter of learning how they play. Reading the hops, and you can kind of tell what hops balls are going to take to. And the biggest thing that I tell people is watch for the big hop, especially being a corner infielder. You get a lot of stuff, rolled over on, hit at you. And if it's a chopper, kind of like a big chopper, it'll, take 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and then, the third bounce, maybe it's, it just depends on how the ball's hit. But if it's a 3 bounce chopper, you're going to get 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and then on that third bounce, boy, it's just going to take off. I mean, come straight into your hands or through your legs. I've seen them where they just die and roll through your legs, and then I've seen them where they take that hop and then just go whipping by your ear. That's the only thing, but you got to get used to how they play. That's the biggest thing, and then it'll be just fine because those good fielders that were good with the 44s adjusted to the 52s, and they're just as good as ever again. As far as safety goes, because everybody says, oh, these balls aren't safe. Look at how they bounce. They're not safe for people. They're getting people hurt. I would rather get hit with 10 52s than I would 2 Classic M's, even 1 Classic M for that matter. Hard balls hurt. There's no doubt about it. I've been hit with 52s pitching, and I've been hit with the Classic M pitching. I can tell you right now, it's a night and day comparison. A 52 is going to leave a bigger bruise, but it's going to do half the damage that a harder ball would. Michael Keister on Facebook asks, when playing infield for slow pitch, should you use a 12.5-inch glove or bigger? Honestly, it's just preference. What you're good with. Other people are better with other things. I've seen some conference guys using, the biggest freaking glove you can buy. And then I've seen other guys using little bitty gloves. Just a matter of what works for you. I personally, if I'm pitching, I like the biggest glove I can get. But if I'm playing the field, I have to have something small. Usually 12, 12.5. Nothing bigger than 12.5 usually. I don't know why that is. My hands aren't as swift. They aren't as smooth. I tend to lose the ball in the transfer. And I think just in my head, knowing that I don't have to bend over as far to get a ball, kind of gets me lazy and causes me issues as well. I'm not like a world-renowned fielder, but I'm not terrible either. And I am much better with a smaller glove, playing like third base or second base or anything like that, than I am with a big glove. Real CJ 251 from YouTube asks, would you rather play in rainy weather or 15 to 20 mile an hour winds? They both suck balls, he says. And yes, that is correct. But to answer the question, I would so much rather play in the rain. The wind just affects too much when it comes to the balls that you're hitting You may hit a ball that may be down the line, and the wind may push it foul, or the wind may push it to someone to catch it. The wind can make a ball hang in the air. 52s are dramatically affected by the wind. If you're hitting into a wind, it's just going to go straight up in the air, especially if, like I was talking about earlier, you cut the ball a lot. I mean, you're applying backspin to a ball, and then the wind's coming in here. Hang on, I gotta get my angles right so you can see what I'm talking about. But if you're applying backspin to a ball, if you can apply enough, it's going to tail up anyway. But if you've got a wind coming in, and it's basically just going to ride that wind and just shoot straight up in the air and not go anywhere. Now, when I say anywhere, I'm obviously not meaning, it's going to go straight up to the infield, but you could get cheated out of home runs, or, balls that may hang up in the gap to be caught just because the wind's blowing in. Pitching as a pitcher or as a hitter, it's terrible because, you may have a ball that's almost going to hit you and the wind blows it to where you've almost got to swing at it because it's going to be a strike. The only good side to being a pitcher with the wind is if you do have a good knuckleball, it'll go nuts in the wind. That's about the only upside to it, and even then you still have to be able to control it. Fishbrat from YouTube asks, what movies that are slated to be released do you want to see, and is there any movies that you have seen that you would recommend for people to watch at least once? I don't watch a lot of movies. I can tell you the last time I went to the theaters to watch anything for myself, I think the last, I don't know however many trips I've made to the theaters have been to watch movies with the kids. I honestly, I'm sitting here trying to think. I could not tell you the last time that I went to the movie to see something for myself. But as far as my favorite movie would probably have to be American Gangster or Goodfellas, something along that realm of things. I just really enjoy those movies. But I don't watch a lot of TV anyway, where, like I said, I can't sit down and watch a movie. I don't have the attention span for it mostly, unless it's something that I really, really, really want to watch. I have any free time. There's people say, oh, there's all this movie on Netflix you got to watch, or you got to check this movie out. If I have free time, I'm spending it in front of this computer. It's just what I do, Sometimes the wife goes to bed and I can't sleep. I'll just come and hang out on the computer and do that thing instead of watching a movie or anything else. It's just what I do. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of movies. Dane Normant sent a few questions that he wanted answered on Facebook Messenger here, so I'm going to go ahead and answer those. He says, the first question is, do bats keep getting hotter until they fail or get hot, then get worse eventually? The exception of a few very rare cases have I heard of a bat getting hot and then just going dead. People will claim, oh, that bat's dead, or that thing ain't hit no good anymore. It's probably the balls you're hitting. If a bat was feeling good in the spring and it doesn't feel any good in the summer anymore, it's either your BP balls or the fact that it's warming up outside and the cores are breaking down in the balls. There's a lot of variables there because bats very, very, very seldom just go dead. For the most part, they will seriously just get hotter and hotter and hotter until they crack. And then once they do crack, they're good for a little bit longer, and then it tapers off pretty quick. His second question is, any progress on getting your hands on a bat tester? Maybe softball fans could loan you one after you test their bats now. I'm not sure that Softball Fans has a tester, and I wouldn't even know where to start to try and get one of my own. I would like to eventually, but I haven't had the opportunity yet. Question number 3. I hear you mention webbing sometimes in your videos. Could you elaborate on exactly what that is and what is normal for a bat as it breaks in versus what might actually be damage from hard balls, cold weather, etc.? That is a good question. I've had people ask me that. And even at the ballpark, oh, my bat's cracked. No, it's just got a spiral in it. The ASA Eastons are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head that, no, I guess the ASA Eastons, the ASA Micans, the ASA Worths, and I want to say that might be just about it. Get spirals in them, and it's nothing more than the bat breaking in, but so many people think they are cracked. But generally what happens there is the outer layer of the bat is breaking down, and that is a sign of a bat for failing compression, kind of something that people that are checking bats can look for. And the difference between that and normal webbing is just little spider webs on a bat. I'll put some pictures up here, of normal webbing versus a spiral web, and you'll see the difference. Nothing to worry about. It's just a sign of a bat breaking in. The more webbing a bat has, you'll figure out the better it is, because that's the more it's been hit. I personally like bats that web because it gives you an idea of how it's breaking in. Not a lot of stuff does it anymore. The Eastons still do it, and the Combats still do it. That's pretty much it that I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe a DeMarini or two, but that's honestly about it. It just depends on the finish that's on the bat. Brian Shimmer from Facebook asks, for the most part, the BP Hero gives bat reviews. If given the chance, are there other softball equipment that you would like to do reviews on, or would you even like to? That's a great question. The answer is yes. I'll review anything softball related that I can get my hands on, whether it be gloves or bags or obviously bats. I could do apparel. I don't know. I guess you could do full dyes, do like a quality of a full dye, or you could do anything. But to answer the question, if it's slow pitch softball related, yeah, I'll do a review on it. That is something. What? Okay. That is something that I would like to do with softball fans coming up. If this bat review thing works out, maybe they could send me a bag to check out, or maybe they could send me a glove to check out. Because I've had people ask me about that stuff, but I don't review a lot of it, so I don't have a lot of good insight. But the final answer to the question is yes, I would love to review anything I could get my hands on. Jared Dunra from YouTube asks, thoughts on the new Worth and Mikan ASA technology, similar to the Louisville Slugger 3-piece connection or completely different animal? I assume he's referring to the fact that they're advertising their bats as being a 4-piece bat now, and to me it's just a sales pitch, something to make it sound good, because you've basically got the barrel, the handle, the rubber connection piece, and then the performance insert, whatever it may be. I'm not 100% sure what they use as far as the performance insert goes, but I think that's where they're getting off calling them a 4-piece bat. It doesn't swing any different. It doesn't feel any different. There's no whip. There's some feedback through the handle that a few people are saying, oh, you can feel the handle flexing. You don't feel the handle flexing. I had this confirmed with a reliable source that is within the company. All you're feeling through the handle is the feedback from the barrel basically coming through that rubber connection piece and into the handle. There's no flex or whip or anything like that. But it's just a sales pitch, in my opinion, just to make it sound good, as to where Louisville, says that their bat is like a handle, the connection, a separate connection piece, and then the barrel. And you do feel flex and whip from that, but, you don't from any of this Worth and Mikan stuff. Jacob Carpenter asks, hey BP Hero, what is your first name? And what are 2 or 3 U-Trip bats you are really excited to get to use in season that you've reviewed so far? My name is Jesse, and as far as bats that I'm looking forward to using, I can't wait to get out and use my U-Trip BJ. It's not like they make an ASA model, but the U-Trip BJ Folk, and I'm really anxious to try this new Helmer that everyone's been raving about. Got one of those coming. Don't know that I get to use it, in the season, but because for the most part, I try and stick with one bat. I don't show up to the ballpark and, switch bat, switch bat, switch bat, switch bat. I swing one bat for just about anything, especially since we can swing basically anything that's got a U-Trip or ASA stamp on it for, our tournaments and our leagues. I'll swing one bat for everything, but as far as bats that I'm looking forward to trying, like I said, I have the Jeff Hall coming. Can't wait to swing that. The Helmer, and I want to see what this Wegman's all about. The flex technology is stiff anyway, and then you combine that with a 1-piece bat. I'm interested to see if they've made any changes that's going to kind of take away some of that feedback, or if it's just going to be like wicked stiff. I'm very curious about that one. Jason Hayes on Facebook wants me to talk about Freedom Sports Softball debuting in Sullivan next weekend. Freedom Sports is kind of a mix of everything. 4 to 10 foot pitching. I believe it's a 44 400, maybe a 44 425 ball. You can use old stamp bats. You can steal. So it kind of takes a little bit of everything and mixes it all together. My friend Ian Castle, which if you're from mid-Missouri, you probably heard that name, and even anywhere else because he ran Castle Sports. He is always into something softball related, and he decided to be a Freedom Director this year for mid-Missouri. He's got a lot of good tournaments coming up. He's a very well organized person, so if he's running a tournament that you're interested in, don't hesitate, just go play because it's going to be a well-ran tournament and it's going to be a good time. I can tell you that right now. Cody Simmons from Facebook asks, I know it's about bat reviews, but I want to see some backside shots. Is the backside game strong? Yeah, I do hit backside. It's kind of one thing that kind of ties my hands when it comes to doing reviews is pulling the ball so the camera can see it. But from the situational hitting standpoint, I do hit backside, not a lot. I really do. When I'm dialed in, I can, and I need to get back into doing some of that. I've even thought about setting a second camera up so maybe I can do a little bit of backside in my BP videos just so I'm not limiting myself just to get a review. My 4-hole is my go-to, and when I'm really dialed in, I could just groove that right center gap. Love it. But it all depends on the situation. But yeah, I do like to hit backside. I'm not the best at it, but I feel like I'm fairly decent at hitting it. Especially when it comes to situations. I feel like I've already said that 3 times. But if you've got a runner on first and there's less than 2 outs, you don't want to be pulling the ball because you're going to hit into a double play, especially with this physique of greatness and all the speed I've got here. So that's really when hitting backside really comes into play. Where if you want to move a runner first to third, hit a ball into the right field line, so that runner can get first to third easier and possibly even score. There's all kinds of situations. I feel like backside is something that everybody should have in their game. Timothy Gilbert from Facebook asks, how many bats do you normally bring to the field? There's been times that I've taken just one bat, the bat that I plan on using. Depends on what I've been doing. If I've been out taking BP, I won't clean my bag out. I'll just grab it and throw it in the car. But it's not like me at all to not show up with just... It's nothing out of the normal for me to just show up with just one bat. That's all you need. You don't need 15 bats to go play a doubleheader league unless you're providing bats for other people, and even at that point, they can swing what you've got or they can go buy one of their own. Fish Brat from YouTube asks, a favorite new line bat thus far, and what new line bats are you looking forward to hitting? I basically answered the what am I looking forward to hitting earlier, but my favorite bat thus far this year would probably obviously have to be the Freak 30. If you know me at all, I'm a short barrel fan, I'm an end-load fan. I liked last year's Freak 30, and this year's was nothing short of amazing. The BJ Folk is also up there as well because it's the worth spec of that. But Mike and Worth have really got their U-Trip game dialed in right now, and their ASA game has made leaps and bounds as well. I'm anxious to swing some of these DeMarinis because arguably they are one of the best ASA bat manufacturers in my opinion. So I'm anxious to swing a DeMarini just to see how it does compare to these new Mikens and Worths. DeMarini's really going to have to be on their game this year in order to stay ahead of Miken and Worth in my opinion. Andrew Nicholas asks, if you could make your own conference team and could select any of the current players, who would be on your roster? That's a good question. A friend of mine and I were talking about that the other night. And just going off the top of my head here, because this is pretty fresh discussion, I would go with Lee Powers at third, Don DiDonatis at shortstop, Kevin Bazat up the middle, Greg Cannell at second base, Bubba Mack at first. Then in the outfield, you got to have Wegman out there. Then for center field, I really like Brandon Dillon. Then in right field, probably be Davis Bellardello. The guy is an extremely good hitter, a good outfielder. He's also got a YouTube channel. Check that out, Dynamic Softball. If I remember, which I usually don't, but I'm going to try, I'll put his channel down there in the description box. You can go check it out. He doesn't post a ton of stuff, but what he posts is quality stuff. But as far as a pitcher goes, I would go with Jason Mucciarelli because that dude is a savage on the mound. And as far as like a catcher, extra hitter, I would probably go with Jason Magnum because that dude just mashes the ball. And I have a man crush on Howie Krause. That dude's swing is freaking awesome. And he hits the crap out of the ball. I don't know. He's been playing for years and years. There's not a whole lot of video out there, though. I would love to have some video of Howie Krause's swing just to sit down and look at it. Not like break it down like there's anything wrong with it, but just to get a good look at it. That dude hits the crap out of the ball, and every swing that he takes is a good one. Bakes72 from Instagram. What are your thoughts on grunting when you swing? Does it help you hit the ball further? Grunting when you swing is just one of those things. It's like people grunting in the gym, making a bunch of noise or hooping and hollering and carrying on. If it helps you, whatever. I think it looks kind of silly, especially when people oof on a ball and then miss it or pop it up. I mean, I've done it before just being a clown, and it usually never ends well, but it's always funny. But if you can do it, I guess go for it. You look silly doing it, especially when you miss the ball. Sure, if you hit your, towering 900-foot home run, of course you're God, and everyone's bowing at your feet and licking the dirt off your shoes when you come back to the dugout. But me personally, I just think it looks kind of silly. But whatever. All right, well, it looks like that's it for the Q&A. I know this podcast was kind of uneventful, A, because it was a solo, and B, because it was just me talking about some stuff, and then, the Q&A. But my hands were tied. There's not a whole lot I can do with a solo podcast. If you guys like these, I'll post some more just until Gabe can get back. If not, I'll try and find someone else to try and do some podcasts with me. I have other options. So we'll try and get something figured out. But I'm not going to sit here and ramble about it because I got to get going. When the phone rang earlier, that was work, so I got stuff I got to get done. But thanks for stopping in and checking this out. If by chance this is the first video of mine you've ever seen and you sat through the whole thing, subscribe to the channel, please. There's all kinds of stuff on there. I've got more of these. I've got bat reviews. I've got game footage from tournaments and league and stuff like that. I'm going to do some more vlogs as well. All kinds of odds and ends stuff. May dip a random video in here and there. But anyway, subscribe to catch up with all that stuff. There's always all kinds of it coming. Like this and share it around. If you dislike this video because it's me by myself or for any other reason, just let me know why so I don't do it again, or any other video for that matter. And you can also comment wherever I got this posted with any questions or comments or anything like that. Thanks, guys.